Have you ever walked in a small room and felt like you just wanted to escape? It's like the conversation, the small talk, the type of energy that's just coming out from the area is just like pressing really hard on you. And sometimes you feel like something is off, but you just can't put into words or explain it. Today, I want to share with you some spiritual reasons why you don't like being around a lot of people. No, you're not broken. You're not crazy. You don't need to fix yourself. There is actually a much deeper reason why you may feel the way you're feeling. Let's face it, there are some people who thrive in the noise, they thrive in a crowd. They love talking for hours and leave wherever they are feeling energized and encouraged. But you step into certain environments and immediately you feel like, oops, I don't feel like being here. When you enter into the room, you immediately notice the tension in the room even before anybody speaks. You're so connected that sometimes you are able to sense when something is just off in the area or place where you are. And though you just don't know how to explain it to yourself, you just don't hear people, you kind of feel people. That is not social anxiety. That's actually discernment. Hear me out. I believe that God has wired you differently for a reason. When God sets people apart, sometimes He makes them very sensitive. They become sensitive to atmosphere, situations way before people can even recognize what is going on. Oftentimes, these people are sensitive to spiritual shifts. You're sensitive to what's happening behind the surface. And oftentimes, when you carry this level of sensitivity, being around too many people for a long time can be very draining and even feel very overwhelming. Even Jesus, the Son of God, didn't always like being around the crowd. Yes, even though Jesus taught the multitude, often he secluded himself to go into hiding so he could be alone and pray. You realize that whenever Jesus poured out to multitudes and thousands of people, he always withdrew. Jesus knew when to draw back. And this was not because he didn't love people. Jesus needed to withdraw because he needed to reconnect himself back to the Father. It's very important, I think, you take from the fact that Jesus didn't mind being alone. And most importantly, Jesus didn't force himself in spaces where he felt drained. Before Jesus even started his ministry, you realize that he spent almost 40 days and 40 nights in seclusion alone in fasting and prayer. Before he chose his disciples, he went into the mountains by himself to pray. Before he went on the cross, he stepped away from a large multitude of his disciples and secluded himself to spend time with God. You notice the trend? Every time Jesus needed to make a major move, he went into solitude. So what does that mean for you? What if your spirit is not necessarily rejecting people, but rather craving alignment and connection with God? What if your desire to be quiet isn't a negative thing, but a sign that you want to go with God in a much deeper way? See, not everybody is called to be loud. Not everyone is called into every event, every conversation, every room. Some people are just called to protect their environment in ways that a lot of people do not understand or even perhaps agree with. In the whole of the Bible, you see great men and women of God that God used tremendously, use their season of solitude to receive a much deeper connection with God. Like Moses, he climbed the mountain alone to receive the 10 Commandments. Elijah had to sit in the cave all alone to be able to hear the still small voice of God. John the Baptist lived alone in the wilderness for many years before his appointed time. So you see, sometimes God sets you apart or pulls you away, not to isolate you, but to equip you. Because let's face the truth, when you're often surrounded by too many people, it's really hard to hear God. And if you're not careful, you will start experiencing or absorbing things that is not really aligned to the will and purpose of God concerning your life. So as a spiritual person or as a person that God has called to a much deeper relationship with, it's no surprise that certain environments just exhaust you. And oftentimes there are certain conversations you have with people that just leaves you feeling heavy and just like, this not it. And it also could be a reason why often being around too many people or certain environments for a long period of time makes you feel disconnected even from your own self. This is because God is training your spirit. So stop forcing yourself in spaces that leaves you empty. Stop apologizing for needing time to be alone to be with God. Stop apologizing and explaining to people why certain surface level connection just doesn't make you feeling good. You, my friend, were created for more than just the noise. So if you don't feel like being around a lot of people for a long time, it's okay. Protect your peace, guard your spirit, and just embrace your solitude. This is because sometimes the loudest revelations come in silence. If this message blessed you, kindly like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And God richly bless you. My name is Abba Maismaishan.